Ben Johnson probably gave us the most current information that we have talking about Jameson Williams this year. And he said that he has a hard time envisioning Williams being ready to go week one. Now, that news right there is a drastic contrast to what we had heard from Jameson Williams saying that he'd be ready to go by OTAs, which is right now. So the thing is, Ben Johnson clarified it. He said that even if he physically is ready to go, he just doesn't think that he's going to be mentally ready because he's not going to have time to work with the quarterbacks, get on the same page with Jared Goff. So my question is, if that's how Ben Johnson feels, or that's the message that he's already bringing out, when do you actually think that Williams joins the starting unit? When do you think the earliest we could see him actually get on the field with Goff and the rest of the offense?
I will say this. I think in that situation, Ben Johnson's probably being a little bit of a mouthpiece for the organization. And I understand what they're saying. If Jameson Williams believes he could play tackle football right now, that's awesome. But I understand where they're coming from, and I like it. Like, we don't rush him back. You just traded up for him. He's our brand new shiny toy. Don't force him to play if he's not all the way ready. Like, the worst case scenario is that he just re-tears his ACL. That lose my mind if that happens. I can afford Jameson Williams. I can afford him to come back in week 4, week 6, week 8. I can afford him to maybe get off to a slow start, struggle with the chemistry. I can't, for my sanity, for waking up tomorrow morning, I can't afford for him to play week 1, get hit in the knee, and he's out the entire year, back to square one. That can't happen. Cannot happen. That is the one thing that can't. So if they do hold him out, I'm into it, and I think it'll probably be a little bit of a how bad do we need it type situation, right? If we start the season off, they're 2-0, 3-1, 4-2. They're stacking up wins. They're cruising along. Things look pretty good without Jameson. I think they're just going to extend and extend. Maybe he'll start taking practice reps, just easing him in as slowly as they possibly can because, hey, they're going pretty well right now. If it's not broken, you don't need to fix it. But on the flip side, if God forbid they start off 0-2, 1-3, it's bad news Bears, Dan Campbell, because the Lions fan base, there will not be a whole lot of patience for something like that. I think in a situation there, then they probably go, okay, Jameson, we're 0-2. You're playing this week. Because also, even though he said it's a mental thing, I don't know how much help Jameson needs. Like, you put him out there and you say, go straight, and he'll be open. So I think it's more so them just being careful. That's my take.
I'll say this. One way or the other, I think if Jameson says and feels that he's physically ready to go, I'm going to trust the player 9 times out of 10 with them being able to say, okay, I know where I'm physically at. I know I can physically perform. I'm going to go out there and perform. Because we've seen it over the years. Best example I can think of is our own Matthew Stafford. There were times where he medically should not have been cleared to play games because he was dealing with various ailments and injuries. But he's, no, I'm going to play. I know what I can handle. I know what I can deal with. Another guy, granted it's from the Green Bay Packers and he's retired, Brett Favre. That guy played through tons of injuries because he knew what he could handle. He knew what he could deal with as far as a pain management thing. So if Jameson Williams says that he can physically perform, that doesn't bother me. That's not my primary concern. My primary concern is, as you said, one, if he goes out there and re-injures that same ACL or, heaven forbid, injures something else. Or two, he goes out there and, again, as we were talking with Ben Johnson, he gets overwhelmed. Again, wide receiver is a very easy position for the most part to transition from college to the NFL. But again, it's an entirely different talent level you're dealing with. You're not dealing with these college corners, which usually are playing further back or they're not playing up in your face and they're not getting 100% physical. NFL corners, they're going to get physical with you every time you practically come off the line, whether they're playing off or playing up front. So I don't want him getting overwhelmed. But I will say this to answer the question. If the Lions were to hypothetically hold him out and say, listen, we're going to wait, the latest I could see them holding him out is until after the bye week, which is in week 6. Because at that point, you're a third of the way through the season. You've given him an extra month and a half to pick up the offense, get healed, whatever else there is. Week 7, you come out firing, and you've got a whole new weapon to add to the offense, and you just come out shooting bullets.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?